The sit-down may mean a significant thawing of relations between China and Australia.
You have repeatedly said that you will deal with China-Australia relations in a mature manner. I attach great importance to your opinion.
Both sides have worked to stabilise the relationship based upon mutual respect and mutual benefit.
It's been a long time.
The Prime Minister meets the President.
It had been 6 years since an Australian Prime Minister last met the Chinese President face-to-face.
Both of our economies are going through a process of transition.
Last week's leaders' meeting certainly marked an important turning point in the tone of our relationship with China after years of muscling up on trade and security issues.
The government announced its decision to ban Chinese telcos from bidding for 5G mobile phone network contracts.
And a slide into more alarming rhetoric as foreign policy increasingly featured in domestic politics.
My government will never be the preferred partner of a foreign government, Mr Speaker, that has chose to intimidate this country and has sought to threaten this country, Mr Speaker. I will never be their candidate. The leader of the Labor Party is the Chinese government's pick at this election.
Playing domestic politics over China, as much as the geopolitics, cast a particularly poisonous pall over the relationship in the first half of this year, and also coloured our relationships with others, notably the Pacific and Southeast Asia. Significant parts of Australia's foreign policy, like the AUKUS and Quad arrangements and the US alliance, have remained unchanged with the change of government in May. But for the past 6 months, Foreign Minister Penny Wong has taken on a punishing travel schedule, visiting 21 countries and seeking to reset or even revive our relationships with the Pacific, Southeast Asia and China.
This is our patch. This is our part of the world. This is where we have special responsibilities. We always have. We always will.
The condescending use of the word our in referring to the peoples of the Pacific and the location in which he decided to do that, I think was extremely unfortunate.
I'm deeply honoured to be here at the Pacific Island Forum, the preeminent Pacific institution, the heart of Pacific regionalism. We will listen and we will hear you.
Well, the first thing is that she's made any pronouncement that she's made in the Pacific. The second thing is that when she goes to the Pacific, she listens. It's so important for us to do that. These are societies where the glue that holds them together is their ability to listen to each other before they talk. And we don't do that. We go and deliver a lecture and then wonder why nobody listens to us.
But I hope you enjoy.
In just her 4th day in the job, Foreign Minister Penny Wong travelled to Fiji to start resetting the relationship with the Pacific.
It's a radical change from the previous relationship that we had with Australia. And what is the most critical issue between the relationship between Australia and the Pacific is climate change. There is no question about that. And there is no question that the Morrison government had really not done anything but respond to the climate.
The countries of Southeast Asia have also been a key focus, and particularly the Association of Southeast Asian Nations known as ASEAN. There has been a complaint in the past that Australia has tried to push countries in the region to choose between China and the US, something they have studiously refused to do after thousands of years of living with their much larger neighbour.
Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong particularly emphasised her government's commitment to ASEAN centrality.
Is committed on ASEAN centrality.
A regional order with ASEAN at the centre.
Instead of forcing regional countries to choose, Wong's references signal Australia's acceptance that these Southeast Asian nations see themselves at the centre of the Asia-Pacific.
ASEAN's representation of diverse states, how it amplifies their voices and balances major power interests, are the ways in which ASEAN holds the centre of the region. We are more than just supporting players in a grand drama of global geopolitics. on a stage dominated by great powers.
Southeast Asia is a highly divided place. I mean, it's a crossroads for half a dozen different cultures, and it has been for 2,000 years. And we find that difficult to understand because we want to have business all the time. Whereas for most people in Southeast Asia, it's the holding of the discussion that really matters.
If ASEAN is weak and like this, kind of split, that is consequential for the region because the big powers will go at it more without its mediation and buffer.
I'm from a party which has a view that you're stronger together.
Her inquisitor at the Foreign Correspondents Club in Bangkok was Thai political scientist Thitinan Pongsudarak.
So now maybe we can field some questions, comments.
This has been so easy so far.
Doing more, yes, but doing what? I think that Australia has a lot to do with ASEAN, I think, to help show up the ASEAN central role still, and to provide balance for the regions by not being too antagonistic towards China, and yet not being kind of the deputy stand-in for the United States.
The most significant shift in China policy has been the de-escalation of the language about China in Australia's domestic political debate.
Every major city in Australia, including Hobart, is within range of China's missiles.
Australian interests are constant, and the government will continue to speak on those issues we believe are necessary and continue to engage with China in order to stabilise the relationship. That will require continued engagement and goodwill on both sides.
The change in approach bore fruit as meetings were first held between Wong and her counterpart, and then last week between the PM and China's leaders. The language from the coalition has cooled too.
As an opposition, we'll support the government where they get it right and where it's in our national interest to do so. And when the Prime Minister's on the world stage, it's important for us to provide that support. It's good to see the meetings, the bilateral meetings, and in particular with China.
Whatever the material changes in our relationships from here on in, their tone has distinctly changed.